Hello, all you fine, beautiful people. I'm back here once again with another reaction, and today I'm going to be reacting to Jacob's Ladder live in Toronto 2015. If you're new to the channel, I play the song all the way through, give you my thoughts and opinions on it at the end. So I've heard the studio version of the song, really looking forward to hearing this one. This Sunday, me and Scott from the Prog Corner and guests are going to be looking at our top 10 favorite Rush songs. So I thought, you know what, with that coming up, just do some Rush and listen to a lot of live. Like, I've heard the studio version, as I said, of this song. Excited to hear this one. So without further ado, here it is, Jacob's Ladder by the Mighty Rush.
Okay, what next, you say? I say we'd like to do another song from that same album, believe it or not. A rarely played song called Jacob's Ladder. The clouds prepare for battle in the dark and brooding silence. Bruised and sullen storm clouds have the light of day obscure, looming low and ominous, twilight premature. Thunderheads are rumbling in our distance over the shore. like streams down in brine of broken leaves.
So that was Jacob's Ladder by Rush live in Toronto 2015. Wow. This is an awesome song to listen to, whether it be just Geddy's bass playing, keyboard work, vocals, like what a very busy musician on stage. That's one thing looking at Geddy, he's very busy. You've got Neil behind him playing the drums. And one of the most busiest, probably, drummers, the only other drummer I can think of who's busier during a concert might be Bill Bruford or Carl Palmer. And just his kind of what looks like a jazzy drum technique. Wow. Alex Lifeson, like, him and Neil, like, they both look like they're so focused on what they're doing that you don't see him smile. It looks like Neil, if you even glimpse at him, he will, like, take your head and rip it off. That's kind of what it looks like here. But man, what a phenomenal drummer. Like, my ears are instantly drawn for some reason just to whatever Neil's doing. And as a guitar player, I think that's very great sign of a great band, is you can have members where you might have learned a little bit of one instrument, but your ears are just drawn to something completely different. This song, man, like Alex's mixture of melodic guitar, on top of that you also have some, I think, absolutely great Geddy Lee synth work. Like, it's really cool, like, to hear Geddy do like all these synth work, and here it works really well because it's very subtle. Like, it's not the main driving part of the song. And even there's stuff in the 80s I've actually really grown to love because of different because with Rush it might be very heavy, but it's also done very somewhat tastefully, and I like that. Like I said here, Alex, even watching Alex, like, as the song's building and Geddy's doing his parts, you see him playing guitar and it's always moving. His hands are always moving. Really interesting. It's funny watching the crowd. As soon as they start playing Jacob's Ladder, I just caught it on the corner of my eye. Just these people jumping up and down, being like, yes. Like, how many times have we waited for them coming through to play this song, and they finally play it? Because Geddy said they don't play it very often, which I can understand. It sounds like a very complicated song, which for Rush, like, looking at some of the stuff they did, yeah, I could see how some of that would have been weaned down a little bit. But the lyrics of the song, the clouds prepare for battle in the dark and brooding silence, bruised and sullen storm clouds have the light of day obscured, looming low and ominous in twilight premature, thunderheads are rumbling in distant overture. All at once the clouds are parted, the light streams down in unbroken beams. That was a great visual during the concert where it shows it down and you can see like the light coming down on the audience almost, as if the clouds have parted. Really awesome visual. Like, that's one thing I like about it. You have the lasers going on. One thing that I always really kick myself is not going to at least see Rush once. That's one thing that I really kick myself now not doing. It took me a long time, quite honestly, to get into Rush, and I figure I'll share the story here. Growing up, they were played a little, like, I live in Canada, they were played on the radio. Like, you always got Free Will, Tom Sawyer, Closer to the Heart. The one from, what is it? The one from Spirit of the Radio was on there as well. You might get the opening to 2112 and Temple of Syrinx. Got that one. The one from Hold Your Fire was played a lot. Those are the ones at least I remember. And I always remember, like, how do I explain this? Growing up, like, had friends who were huge Rush fans, and my first band I fell in love with was Pink Floyd, and that was the band I fell in love with. And I kind of always felt like, how do I put this? They were always like, Rush is the greatest band of all time. There's nothing else. Everything else sucks except Rush. And kind of always felt like they were putting you down for liking something else. That drove me away, being on the internet, seeing a lot of the Rush love, and kind of how that kind of went online as well, kind of really irked me. But the one thing that will always turn me away from a band, and it's simply a Canadian thing, and I don't hear really any other country use this except Canada. And it's like, if you don't like X band, you're not Canadian enough. And it's one of the things that always really irked me about especially music and that in Canada is, and it really did keep me from getting into a lot of bands, especially Canadian. I couldn't stand that mentality. Another band where that happened was Tragically Hip. Thank God I didn't like the Tragically Hip anyway, so it didn't really matter. with that. But with Rush, it really feels like I missed out on a lot because of other outside circumstances, I think, is pretty much the main reason. And it took me a long time. Like I said, before I started the channel, or before I started doing these reactions, what I heard, a little bit of Rush, that's what I heard. And not all of it blew me away. I still think one of my favorites is Closer to the Heart is probably one of my favorite of their singles they'd constantly play. I always love that song. I really like Free Will. That was another song I absolutely like. I find it very weird that Rush writes a song of Free Will, but their fans are some of the most avid and at times very close-minded to other stuff. Now, I know people say, well, those aren't Rush fans, but to somebody who's trying to get in the band, it really put that gatekeeping up there from getting into the band, because I'm like, well, how... And pretty much saying, like, a band I found that I absolutely loved, and being, you tell me they suck, I'm like, pretty much, F you, that's right, forget you, I don't care. But I really do feel sad that I never did get into Rush, at least while Neil was alive. The ability to see them live was the one thing, and yeah, this is a way longer video than I ever intended it to be. That's pretty much my Rush experience prior to the channel. Like, it's one of those things where you really... I want to say, as music fans, just be open. Just be very open. People like different things, and yeah, so that pretty much was my thing. And the constant, and I really hate that about Canada, how we throw ex-band in there, and it's like, if you don't like them, you're not Canadian enough. And I think that's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. But anyway, that's my thoughts and opinions. Once again, I say thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I want to know what you guys think of Jacob's Ladder by Rush live. Tell me your experiences with Rush. But anyway, once again, I say thank you guys so much for watching. This is Amir once again signing out. Peace.